YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video. I know I just recently did a Season 14 Hunter tier list, so what better way to follow it up with a Season 14 Survivor tier list? And I know a lot of you guys in the comments of the Hunter tier list video asked for a Survivor tier list video, so that is what I am delivering for you guys today. Hopefully it will be beneficial, beneficial for you guys, and maybe it'll help you out. Hopefully that's the goal here, and hopefully you guys enjoy. I would like to thank everybody so much for getting us to 350 subscribers. It means a lot. It's a really big deal for me. It's very exciting. I remember back at the beginning when we had almost no subscribers, and we've been building up over time and getting this moment, and still going. So if you guys are enjoying the content and you haven't already hit the subscribe button down below, don't forget to hit it. I really do appreciate you guys' support. It does mean a lot. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So for this tier list, I do have 6 different sections. I have D tier, C, B, A-, A+, and S tier. We'll go through each survivor, respectively in their own section. Let's get started with the lowest tier, and that is D tier. So the first survivor in D tier, and unfortunately the worst survivor in the game, is Lucky Guy. Now, Lucky Guy is, he's always been the worst survivor in the game for the most part. The biggest issue with Lucky Guy is, while you can, yes, you can search chests and get items to help you out, or get items for your teammates, such as getting a flare gun for a coordinator or an illusion for a magician, it really ends up not being too strong, and the reason for that is because Lucky Guy isn't decoding, right? And one of the biggest strategies in this game is Cypher Rush, promoting that decoding as fast as possible. And you don't really have that as an option when a Lucky Guy is taking time to search a chest and deliver items to their teammates. That's just one person not decoding. It takes too long. There isn't much to say about Lucky Guy. Other than that, he has no kiting ability. Abilities to help him kite other than a veteran speed bonus. So, for the most part, Lucky Guy really doesn't do much other than he can support, but for the most part, he just prevents Cypher Rush from being utilized at its maximum potential, and that is why Lucky Guy is a D tier survivor and the worst survivor in the game. The next survivor in D tier is Thief. This should also be pretty self-explanatory. Thief is not very good. The biggest way to counter Thief is just hold teleport and look away, and that's called moonwalking. And what you can do is you can do that, and you can't even flashlight you, and you just walk up to him and hit him. Thief gets countered by any hunter with a large hitbox. Thief can't really do anything about it. Even with a small hitbox, you can just moonwalk or use it. If you have a damaging ability, you can just mess up Thief that way. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Thief gets countered by pretty much every hunter in the game. And that is the biggest downside to Thief. He's just not very good. It's as simple as that. And that's why Thief is a D tier hunter. D tier survivor. I'm thinking a hunter tier. This is a survivor. What am I talking about? Anyways, moving on to the next tier, which is C tier. I'm gonna go try to get through this pretty quick, guys. I don't really want to keep you guys here all day. I kind of did that with the hunter tier list. I think it ended up being like 40 minutes long or something like that. So we'll try not to spend too much time on survivors here, but I do want to get as most detailed as possible to give you guys the best view of why each survivor is where it is in the tier list. And so yeah, let's keep going. The next survivor in C tier, the next tier is C tier. The first survivor in C tier is Lawyer. Now Lawyer actually isn't that bad in a 4-person team comp because you can rotate very well. For those of you who don't know, rotations is essentially survivors leaving specific areas on the map that the hunter is walking towards, leaving them earlier before the hunter gets there, so the hunter won't find them, or it takes a very long time to catch up to them, which allows for the rest of the team to decode longer before someone actually has to begin kiting. So it makes it so your kites have to be a lot shorter for you to be able to win the game. It doesn't have to be as long as it typically would have to be, like a 3-cypher kite, like 100 seconds, right? It doesn't have to do that anymore if you rotate properly. But Lawyer's very good for rotating if you're in a 4-person, voice communication. There's simply better survivors for that, like Seer. But Lawyer is still good. You can tell your team where he's going. If he completes, I believe, if he completes a Cypher Machine and is still holding his map, he can decode 20% faster. But the biggest issue is that, it's simply just his map runs out so quick, right? And he has no abilities to help him kite as well, other than he can't be terror shocked and gets veteran's bonus, which is actually very good. But he doesn't have like a magician type ability or a perfumer type ability. So that's the biggest issue with the Lawyer. He isn't the best kiter. He can rescue, but yeah, he's not great. He's not the best kiter. And there's just better survivors for rotating, such as Seer, for getting that vision on the hunter in the early game. So that is why Lawyer is a C tier survivor. The next survivor in C tier, some of you may disagree with me on this, but I strongly believe this character is in C tier, and that is Dancer. I have never really liked Dancer. I've never thought she's that good of a survivor. There are just too many hunters with damaging abilities that can sort of just play around the music boxes. There's also some strategies hunters can do. They can literally emote on a music box, and the Dancer will like run up thinking they're gonna break it, and they're not, and you just hit the Dancer for free. It's so hard. As a Dancer, you might think in your head, it's like, oh, that's so easy to read if they're emoting. It's really actually not, because apologies for that. The emoting motion for a lot of hunters is similar to the the music box removing motion. So, but anyways, even ignoring that, Dancer is just not a very good kiter. She can tight kite, but a lot of hunters are anti-tight kite right now. So, the only hunter Dancer is very good against is the new hunter Percy. Dancer is very good against Percy because you can just loop with a music box forever in specific areas, and Percy will never catch up to you. But other than that, Dancer is just very, very weak against other hunters. There are way better containment type characters, way stronger characters in general, and that's why Dancer is a C tier survivor. The next survivor in C tier is Postman. Now, Postman isn't actually terrible. If you master, like when I mean master Postman, he is not bad, right? So you can use the dog to slow down hunters. It's actually not bad against hunters like Bloody Queen, because if she tries to sandwich you or trap you in with that mirror image, you can simply throw down the Postman dog, and gain distance between you and the Bloody Queen. So that could play to your advantage. There are better survivors such as Prospector or Priestess can gain that distance with magnets or using a portal. But Postman's not bad. He can also give letters to the teammates to increase their decoding or vaulting speed or whatever happens to be, to help them kite or help them decode. But for the most part, Postman is not too great of a kiter. There are better kiters, there are better support characters, and it's just simple as that. Postman is a C tier survivor. The next survivor in C tier is Mind's Eye. I don't know why I said Entomologist. It's definitely not Entomologist. She's in B tier. But the next one is Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye is also not too bad of a survivor. Like, a lot of these C tier survivors are pretty subpar, but they're not terrible. Like the D tier ones, and this is why this one separates from D tier and C tier. But Mind's Eye isn't terrible. The biggest thing about Mind's Eye is if you don't find the Mind's Eye as a hunter, you will most likely tie the match. That's how good Mind's Eye is, right? In that aspect, right? If you find Mind's Eye first as a hunter, you usually just win, because Mind's Eye is not a good kiter. You can kill Mind's Eye super fast. She can see through walls, which can help her tight kite in loop areas, but for the most part, it's not too good. Mind's Eye is very, very strong actually in Sacred Heart Hospital, because you can see the hunter, through the walls when they're downstairs, where they're going up the stairs, wherever they happen to be in the hospital. But other than that, Mind's Eye is not too strong in pretty much any other area. And that's why Mind's Eye's C tier is her kiting potential is terrible. She's super weak in terms of kiting. But again, also a lot of top hunters, they can listen for the tap of the cane. They can hear the audio, right? And they can go to where the Mind's Eye tap the cane and find the Mind's Eye early. So that's why a lot of Mind's Eyes won't even tap their cane at the beginning of the game. So you don't even get that early game rotation that you might get with viewing the hunter using that Mind's Eye cane. So that is why simply Mind's Eye is a C tier survivor. If she gets found first, the hunter usually wins. If she doesn't get found first, these survivors will usually tie or win. So it's just kind of it's a huge gamble playing a Mind's Eye, that's for sure. That's why Mind's Eye is C tier. All right, moving on to the next tier, that is B tier, and the first survivor in B tier is Gardener. I actually personally thought Gardener should be in C tier, but a lot of people convinced me, oh, Gardener's new buff, it's pretty good. She gets these extra bubbles, and bubbles are so good, and apparently when a hunter hits a bubble, it just pops and doesn't deal any damage, which I don't know how a bubble defends against a Wu Chang swinging a giant umbrella at you, but whatever. But yeah, so apparently, according to some people, and I'll explain. I guess I can agree with it. Gardener is B tier, but she is low B tier if anything. And some people might even say she's higher. I strongly disagree. And the biggest reason is you got to think about meta hunters, right? A lot of meta hunters right now in top tiers are Sculptor and Bonbon, right? And some Violinists. But Sculptor and Bonbon are very, very popular in top tiers right now. Okay, so, and the biggest issue with Gardener is a Bonbon can just bomb off the bubble, or a Sculptor can just statue off the bubble. And that's the problem with Gardener, is even if she stands still, right, for some reason and manages to get a bubble back, these hunters can literally just use their damaging abilities to remove the bubble and just hit the Gardener, and the bubble did absolutely nothing other than prevent a quarter damage, which really doesn't get you anywhere for the most part. Gardener can also break chairs, which slows down the hunter a bit, and it's not bad, but it's time that you're not decoding. So it prevents Cypher Rush, unfortunately, for survivors. But getting an extra bubble isn't bad against hunters like Bloody Queen. It's actually very strong against hunters like Bloody Queen and Dream Witch. But against hunters with damaging, abilities that can do like quarter damage, or even something like a Violinist, it's not as strong because they can knock off the bubble and prevent that bubble from having any serious effect towards your kiting and you as a Gardener surviving longer throughout the game. So that is simply why Gardener is a low B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Entomologist, also known as Bee Lady, or someone told me it's Butterfly Lady, which I don't think is true. I'm pretty sure they're bees, right? Because she has a whole mask, right? Isn't the mask for preventing bee stings? And I don't know. Why does she have a hat? I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to question it. The next is Entomologist. Yeah, she puts honey on the windows. Wait. Why is that? That doesn't make sense. Why is it butterflies then? I don't know why someone said butterflies. Anyways, so Entomologist is B tier. She's all around not actually a bad supporter. The bees can come in clutch. The bees can actually. We played with an Entomologist earlier today, and I was talking to my duo about it. I was like, oh my god, we got an Entomologist. This is gonna be so bad. We're gonna lose. Why are we playing this game? Blah, blah, blah. And the Entomologist actually saved the game by using her bees to push the hunter away from a survivor who was dead on chair after we made a save against a Ripper, and that survivor got away. The survivor literally got away because the Entomologist pushed the Ripper. It was against a Ripper. Pushed the Ripper back so far, the Enchantress was able to get away, and we were actually able to win the game because of that, which was pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie, right? Entomologist isn't that bad. She's just average for the most part. She can use her beast to block off certain pathways, but it's not very good against something like Violinist with Presence because they can just hit it off and keep walking. Hunters can mostly just walk around it, but in narrow areas, like for example, going up the stairs in Hospital, or second story in Leo's Memory, or in certain God Palette areas that hunters have to walk through, the beast can be very effective. And that is simply why Entomologist is a B. The biggest problem as well is once Entomologist leaves the hunter's line of sight, the hunter can see the Entomologist for a few more seconds afterwards because she stays highlighted. If that wasn't in effect, Entomologist might actually be an A tier survivor, or she might be an A tier survivor, A-. She wouldn't be too bad, but because of that, I think that pretty much just puts her down. It's hard for the hunter to actually lose her. So for the most part, Entomologist is just a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier has actually moved up, and that is not Entomologist. I literally just said that. Why? I'm sorry. Apologies for that, guys. You know me. I'm not very bright sometimes. The next one is Embalmer. Okay, and this is a little bit interesting to think about. Okay, Embalmer. I'm gonna be honest. Someone just told me put Embalmer in B tier. I haven't even looked into Embalmer. I've never thought Embalmer was good. I don't think he's very good still. He probably should be C tier, but I don't know. Whatever, I know I sound stupid, but I don't know. Anyways, Embalmer's new buff is, I think he can like literally move the coffin around wherever he wants, and that's actually really effective, especially against a lot of camping hunters. Okay, so a lot of the meta right now is for hunters and top tiers is camping hunters. So Embalmer on big maps against camping hunters like Bonbon and Sculptor is very strong, because you don't really want to save off a Bonbon because he has the best camp in the game, right? It's simple as that. So when you get, when that happens to you, okay, and you get shared against a Bonbon, you can just use the coffin and get across. If it's a big map, you can just get across the map. If the Bonbon hasn't used teleport yet, or sorry, if the Bonbon has used teleport or just has blink, you're gone. Like it's that good, right? That's the same against something like Sculptor. Same against something like even Violinist doesn't have bad camp. So Embalmer isn't bad in that sort of sense, where you can escape a good camping hunter. You can sometimes lose the hunter, on big maps. And the fact that an Embalmer can easily move his coffin around a lot quicker now, it's a lot more effective. Also, Embalmer is good against Percy because you can immediately use your coffin, and it makes it so you don't bleed out as long on the ground, which is not bad. I actually don't even know how the interaction works, but anyways, yeah. So Embalmer is simply just pretty average. Not a great kiter. He doesn't have any tools to kite with, but he does have a pretty decent ability that has been buffed, and that's why he is now a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is the Doctor. Doctor is always kind of just been in low B tier. She's never been too good, unfortunately, but a little while ago, maybe not a little, it might have been a lot of while ago, I'm not really sure. She was buffed where she can heal herself a quarter damage at a time, which isn't bad against hunters like Bloody. It's actually very strong against something like Bloody Queen incredibly strong against something like Dream Witch. Very strong against something like Wu Chang. But the biggest issue is that it's not very good against something like Sculptor, and it's not very good against something like Bonbon, which again, bringing back to the point of top meta hunters right now. Bonbon Sculptor are one of the two most popular hunters for the most part in top tiers, considering that Dream Witch is always banned. So you usually end up playing Bonbon and Bonbon or Sculptor, you know, quite often in top tiers. But you know, Doctor isn't too bad. She can, you know, she can kite. You know, if it's against a hunter with slow pallet breaking speed, you can usually get your heal off. As long as it's not like a damaging ability hunter that deals like quarter damages like Sculptor and Bonbon. She gets that veterans bonus when she gets hit, so she gets a pretty good speed boost. It makes really, you know, great distance between her and the hunter, and it usually allows her to get a quarter damage heal off. So then, you know, she gets hit, she goes up to 3/4, and she gets hit again, then she dies. But you know, it makes it a lot harder for her to actually get her down. And you know, she's a good support character. She heals other characters fast. She can heal off the quarter damage, you know, the 1/4 damage or the 3/4 damage on a survivor. For those of you who don't know what I mean, what I'm saying by quarter damage or 1/4 damage, it's like one bomb hit from a Bonbon or one Sculptor statue hit from a Sculptor, right? So that is why Doctor is a C tier, or sorry, B tier survivor. Oh my god, I'm gonna need to get water in a sec. I'm like losing my breath here. The next survivor in B tier is Painter. When Painter came out, Painter was broke. Painter was really good. He could rescue, he could kite. He was just, you know, absolutely phenomenal. A threat to be, you know, a force to be reckoned with. And a lot of hunters literally had to carry excitement for a Painter. And now Painter is just not too good. The hunter can literally see the range of the painting. And he only has 2 paintings. I actually think they should remove the 2 paintings is fine. 3 paintings is too good. 3 paintings is broke. But 2 paintings I think is strong, is fine the way it is. I think it's pretty strong. And it should be left that way. The hunter being able to see the circle, I actually don't agree with that. I think that's a little bit too good for hunter's side. And I think it makes Painter a little too weak. And this is actually a common theme that I've noticed with Identity 5. Is when you get, you know, a new survivor that comes out, if the new survivor ends up being very strong, they'll immediately nerf that survivor to the ground, and that is what happened with Painter. I think he was A+, maybe even S tier, and he was nerfed down to B tier. It was just so hard. But with a hunter, when a hunter comes out, they don't nerf that hunter for like a whole season, and that's my issue, where it's like, you know, a new hunter comes out and he's totally broken, and survivors are complaining. No one cares. They just let it keep going. And with survivors, a new survivor comes out, and some hunters complain about it. It's like, oh, we're just gonna nerf this survivor down to nothing, right? But it's okay. That's always been, you know, how the game goes, and you can't really argue with that. But anyways, for the most part, Painter isn't bad. He has 2 paintings to kite with. He can kite while injured as long as you set up the painting properly. It's not a bad strategy. Some hunters can play around it by not looking at it though. Painter also has that, you know, that chair time where, you know, he goes on the rocket chair. And he, you know, when he gets saved, he goes back on the chair at the same point. So you can literally, if the Painter can die on someone's Cypher, he can die on someone with Tide Turner Cypher, and you insta-save that person, insta-save the Painter, and the Painter can just get away, and they have a full chair left, because they were insta-saved, right? And the person can go back to decoding. So that's pretty good. And that's why Painter's a high B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier actually was buffed significantly recently. That is Wildling. Wildling used to be D tier. Wildling was terrible, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Wildling ain't it. Wildling was not it. Wildling was really bad. And I know there's some people out there, some Wildling mains out there who said, oh, Wildling is so good. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, guys, Wildling was not good. I know some of you guys really like Wildling, and I do apologize if you are offended by what I'm saying, but Wildling's better now. Wildling used to be really bad. Okay. Just the lack of decoding his Cypher Rush was terrible. His decoding was minus 40%. That's really bad. You know, someone could 3-Cypher Kite, and it's just a tie. Someone could 4-Cypher Kite, it might still be a tie because Wildling's not decoding. So that's the biggest issue. And a lot of hunters can literally just play around Wildling. Bonbons can drop a bomb. Sculptors can just maybe spam a couple statues, and then because the Wildling has to go in a straight line, it's not like a Ford that can dash around it, right? Feaster can sometimes block off with tentacles. It's just not good for Wildling, right? But you know, that's, and excitement also counters Wildling. But Wildling's actually a lot better now. When he pushes someone back, even if they don't, you know, even if they aren't saved, they aren't rescued because he, you know, did the immediate push. Their struggling bar goes up by 10%. So the Wildling can push them away from chair and make it so they can potentially struggle. And this is why struggle speed is really key. This is why I run struggle speed on my Seer now. For those, you know, someone's playing Wildling, but struggle speed's always good. But Wildling, you know, can help survivors struggle free, can rescue survivors with that dash, and also decodes 30% slower now than regular decoders instead of 40, which is a lot better because it used to be, it used to be 40. Which was terrible. And 30 is just the speed of a forward, which isn't bad. You can still promote Cypher Rush with Wildling now, as you couldn't really before. And that is why, you know, Wildling is the top survivor in B tier. Moving on to A- tier, there are quite a few survivors in here. And the first survivor in A- tier is Enchantress. I personally have never liked Enchantress. I've never thought she was too good of a survivor. The only good Enchantress I've ever played with is, I believe JoJo is her name. I've played with her a few times in rank. Very, very good Enchantress. But every other time I play with Enchantresses, it just ends up not being too good. And the biggest issue is, you know, it's simply just that survivors, you know, who play Enchantress try to farm stuns. It's just not a good strategy. It prevents Cypher Rush. Enchantress has no tools to kite with early game, so if a Wuching teleports on her and the Hunter's on her early game, she's just going to get hit. She gets countered by Bloody Queen, she can just mirror from a distance and you can't use her stuns. And it's just really subpar. There's almost no strategy, you know, involved in Enchantress. She's very easy to play. And she's just not too good, unfortunately. There are just better containment types, better kiters in general. When she does build up for the 3-stack, it's not bad. And Enchantress isn't a terrible survivor right now, considering the meta is again, heavy Bonbon, heavy Sculptor. She does get, you know, those stuns every time, you know, the Hunter stuns, you know, hits her with a bomb or a statue. And she can build up to a 3-stack very easily against one of those Hunters. But again, for the most part, Enchantress is just not too good against other Hunters. Very, very weak against Dream Witch, very weak against Bloody Queen. And those are, again, very popular Hunters as well. And that is simply why Enchantress is an A- survivor. The next survivor in A- tier is Barmaid. Barmaid was recently buffed. I actually haven't really played around with the new Barmaid, so I can't really give you guys actually a great explanation of new Barmaid. I don't really know because I've never really played new Barmaid. But the one thing I do know is Barmaid is still fairly weak again against meta hunters. Bonbon, I keep stressing this, guys, right? Bonbon, Sculptor are two of the most popular hunters in top tiers right now. And Barmaid is weak against those. Because if Barmaid, you know, gets hit, goes down to half health, and uses her drink to try to heal up, she just has to get bombed or statued, and that gets removed. She has to kite for, I think it's like, what, 21 seconds? 20 seconds, something like that? Before her heal activates. You know, before the drink activates and she gets healed. But if you get hit by any sort of damage, whether it's a statue or a bomb, then you're screwed, right? Barmaid is very strong against something like Photographer. You know, you can heal off the damage that Photographer did to you in Photo World. I believe you can still do that. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but she is very, very strong against Dream Witch. Actually, a hard counter to Dream Witch, because what Dream Witches do is they try to get a sneaky hit with the first hit with the leech. With the spawn follower, and then they patroller you. But by that time, there's a good like 30-40 seconds between that time where they patroller you, because you make distance by transitioning away and buying more time. And that makes it so, you know, Barmaid can get her heal up in time, right? Barmaid's also very strong against Bloody Queen because Bloody Queen's mirror cooldown takes so long. So Bloody Queen mirrors you and, you know, hits you within maybe like 4 seconds of using the mirror. The mirror has another, what, 9 seconds left before it's down, and then another 15-second cooldown. So that's about 24 seconds. So what I'm saying here is, with Bloody Queen, is her mirror lasts 13 seconds, and then has a 15-second cooldown. So do the math here. If you hit a survivor within, you know, 4 to 5 seconds, let's say 5 seconds of activating your mirror, you hit the Barmaid, the mirror will then have 8 seconds left of cooldown, or 8 seconds left before it runs out, and then 15 seconds left of cooldown. Right, so that's 23 seconds, which is more than enough time for Barmaid to get that heal off. So it forces Bloody Queen to use an extra mirror image. On top of that, if you have a Seer, it forces her to use either a blink in 3 mirrors or 4 mirrors, and by that time, 3 survivors are just going to pop. I mean, it's just simple as that. That's almost 100 seconds. So Barmaid is very strong against Bloody Queen and Dream Witch. Not so good against Bonbon and Sculptor, but overall, a strong, well-rounded survivor, and is a solid A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier is Acrobat. So I personally, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I personally am not a huge fan of containment type characters. I never have been. I never thought they were too good. I've always had the thought process of just play a rescuer, or just play like maybe even Perfumer with Tide would be better. Just play Coordinator even, right? But and again, that's my thing. I've never been a huge fan of Acrobat. Acrobat is a very good kiter. He can contain the hunter, a lot of hunters for long periods of time. But I just personally don't think Acrobat is too good for the most part. Good hunters can usually deal with Acrobats pretty quickly. There's not much to say about Acrobat. The only hunter, or the only map I would ever recommend Acrobat on is Moonlight River Park. He can literally jump off the first stop platform. He can jump off the fourth stop platform. He can jump all the way from third stop onto the slide, which is completely broken. And it makes hunters go all the way down and go all the way around, and it wastes a ton of time. But other than that, he's not too strong in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I've literally seen an Acrobat get teleported on by Wuching, get insta-hit in my mind. I'm like, oh my god, we've already lost. But it was 4-stop, and he literally looped 4-stop for 120 seconds before getting hit a second time, and we won the match. So that was pretty impressive. But yeah, Acrobat overall, he's a good kiter. He can, use the, one of the bombs, I forgot what it's called. He can vault the window with the bomb, or you can use the window thing with the bomb, and the hunter vaults it slow because it, decreases interaction speed. He can use the firebomb against hunters like Bon, against hunters like Sculptor, or any hunter with good abilities to cancel them and, give you good kiting time, right? Increased kiting time. Very strong against Clown as well, because you can firebomb with Clown. He can actually save off a Bon too, because you can if you land the firebomb on the Bon. The hunter can usually dodge it if they try, but if you do manage to land the firebomb on the Bon, they can't use their bomb, so you can usually get off a pretty easy save. And overall, Acrobat's a strong kiter. There are better characters to play, though, in my opinion, on a team composition. The only map, he's very strong on Moonlit. That is the only map I would recommend Acrobat on. However, with all those things put into place, Acrobat, in my opinion, is an A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier is Cowboy. Cowboy is more of a containment type character now than a support type, but I like, containment types that can also support the team. Cowboy can support the team. He can harass. He can force the hunter to drop the survivor. He can literally save survivors. Waste a lot of time. Cowboy is also a very, very strong kiter now. He can lasso pallets, but also get incredible speed boost when he does lasso those pallets. He can lasso over the hunter and get a speed boost from that. So you can literally, kite out a Bloody Queen's mirror image, because if she tries to trap you, just lasso over the Bloody Queen. As long as you lasso yourself over her near a pallet and get to it, you're fine. Cowboy has increased pallet stun. So you can literally knock hunters out for a good while if you manage to land a pallet stun with Cowboy, and it's not that hard. One of the most common strategy with Cowboy is lasso a pallet, get the speed boost, run through it, and then double back in pallet stun. It looks like you're running through the pallet, but you're the whole time your intention is to go back and get that pallet stun. So Cowboy can waste a lot of the hunter's time. Is a very good containment type character. Does waste a lot of time kiting. And can waste the hunter's time harassing as well. So overall, Cowboy, in my opinion, maybe A+ tier next season. We'll see. But right now is a very solid, well-rounded A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier is First Officer. Now, First Officer's always been just kind of he's been a strong rescuer, but not too good. He has those pocket watches, which aren't bad. You can waste 40-second guaranteed kite as long as you have very, what's the word? Erratic movements? I don't know if that's the right word, but evasive movements, I guess, is probably a better way to describe that. First Officer can waste a lot of the hunter's time. He also has that increased chair persistence, which, makes it so if the First Officer goes on the rocket chair, he can be on there for, a lot longer. He can technically save while injured. Usually a lot of hunters will just swing at the air and push him back, and it is really hard to get a save off. But it's not bad. First Officer is a good rescuer. He can buy a lot of the hunter's time if it gets chased. His decoding is minus 20%, which isn't terrible. It's not like Mercenaries, which is minus 25, or Forward, or Wildling, which is minus 30. It's not too bad. So overall, Acrobat's pretty well-rounded. You don't really want to... I keep saying Acrobat. What is wrong with me? First Officer is pretty well-rounded. He can waste a lot of the hunter's time, again, using those pocket watches. He gets a free 40-second kite as long as you have very evasive movements, and then he can kite again after that. So, most First Officers can easily get a 80-second kite, no problem. And on top of it, the increased share persistence, that's just a win. So if a hunter ever wants to chase a first officer, he can usually just pretty much waste all the time. And that's why in some instances, first officer is better than Gravekeeper. I think first officer is better against something like a Wu Chang because, you know, with Gravekeeper, that just feeds the hunter presence, and first officer it doesn't. And especially against a black form Wu Chang, you can never really hit a first officer because his movements are so, you know, irregular, and you can never really predict that with that small hitbox. So that is why first officer is a high A- survivor and a very strong rescuer overall. The next survivor in A- tier is Coordinator. Now, Coordinator's always been, you know, within A-, A+ tier. Coordinator is a solid rescuer, a solid kiter, can waste a lot of the hunter's time, has increased chair persistence as well. Keep that in mind, guys. Coordinator's not bad because Coordinator isn't a bad target to chase as a hunter, but in reality, she actually kind of is, right? It doesn't seem like it. Because it's like, oh, after she uses her flare gun, it's like, okay, well, you know, she has nothing to kite with, and, you know, some chords, this chord's probably carrying Tide as well. Some of them carry Broken Windows, but some might carry Tide. It's like, oh, it's a free kill. No kiting abilities, just has some increased vaulting speed, no flare gun available. Easy kill, right? But on top of that, Coordinator has that increased share persistence. So Coordinator, with increased vaulting speed, along with a flare gun, which can, you know, essentially prevent a hit and not feed presence, and waste a lot of the hunter's time, and potentially allow her to escape. And she has increased share persistence. Overall, Coordinator is very strong. You know, hunters can dodge the flare gun, so you have to watch out for that. You have to be very, very careful. But a lot of Coordinators can actually mind game the hunter. They can use the emote to make it look like they are going to shoot the hunter. While they're being chased, you know, by the hunter, they can turn back and look at the hunter. And the hunter will, you know, maybe try to juke behind a tree or something to make it look like, you know, to try to hide from the flare gun. But the Coordinator won't shoot, and it allows the Coordinator to get some more distance between them and the hunter. And it just becomes like a constant mind game with Coordinator. Like, when are you going to shoot? When are you going to shoot? When are you going to do this? And good Coordinators who know how to mind game the hunter are very, very threatening and are very good kiters. And when eventually do go down, can be on the rocket share for a while because of that share persistence. So because of that, Coordinator is a high A- tier survivor. She can also save off hunters with very good camp like Sculptor and Bonbon. It's actually harder off Sculptor because Sculptor, the statues can potentially block the flare gun, but Coordinator is a very good rescuer of Bonbon. And that's just simply because Bonbon, you know, if they're not bringing excitement, Bonbon has the best camp in the game. If you can shoot the Bonbon, you can just get a free save, no problem. So that is why Coordinator is a high A- tier survivor. All right, one more survivor in A- tier. After this, I'm going to have to get a drink of water. Then we're going to come back and resume this. The next survivor in A- tier is Prisoner. Now, I was debating whether to put Prisoner in A- or A+ tier, but I did ask a lot of I asked a couple people I know, top survivors and hunters, and they personally thought Prisoner was A- tier. Especially one of the hunters I talked to, you know, he said Prisoner is A- tier, simply because Prisoner is just, his Cypher Rush isn't as good. And I actually have to agree, because when I play Hunter, I personally am a survivor main, but when I do play Hunter rank, and I see Prisoner on the team comp that I'm going against, I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I'm fine with this, right? I'm fine with the Hunter Prisoner. I really don't care. Prisoner's not too good in my opinion yet. So Prisoner, again, his decoding isn't bad. You know, you can help the main rescuer, such as the Mercenary, finish their Cypher Machine early, so they can go in for a rescue. Typically, what Prisoners do is they connect to the main rescuer, the first rescuer's Cypher Machine, which is usually the Merc. If you have a Merc or like maybe a Gravekeeper or whatever, if Mercenary was banned. But typically if you have a Prisoner, it's usually because mechanics banned. But yeah, so, you know, Prisoner can help speed up the first rescuer's Cypher, which is pretty good, because if the first rescuer can finish their Cypher Machine before the first kiter goes down, you're usually in a pretty good spot to win as survivors. Because you can keep keep promoting that Cypher Rush, and the first rescuer has already finished the Cypher and can go start a new one after they make the first rescue, so they don't have to go back and, you know, do their Cypher and then go all the way to a new one again. It takes up, you know, a lot more time. So yeah, so Prisoner's not bad. He can help, you know, decode, again, the first rescuer's Cypher. He's not a bad containment type character, or he's not a bad kiter, I guess, in terms of he has that one shock to work. So it's like a single Enchantress stun. Not a 3-stack, like a single stun that he has available to him, which isn't bad. You know, you can use it to get the hunter to drop a survivor as well, which can waste a little bit of time. It's not too good, but it can waste a little bit of time. And he can get it back as well if he goes into that shock zone. So Prisoner, again, Prisoner's not a bad. He's not bad in terms of kiting. He's, you know, a lot better at kiting than Mechanic. he is, you know, he has the shock to work with. His decoding isn't as good as other decoders like Mind's Eye and Mechanic, but overall he's not too bad. He is a strong survivor, and he is the highest survivor in A- tier. Alright guys, just got back from getting some water. I've been talking for, what, like 30 straight minutes, so little loss of voice there, but got some water, so we're good to keep going for the rest of the tier list. Moving on to the next part of the tier list, that is A+ tier, and the first survivor in A+ tier is Perfumer. I'm going to talk a little bit about Perfumer. I actually want to put a little bit of time into this, because this is kind of an interesting topic, right? A lot of people are saying Perfumer sucks now. There's a lot of people saying this. And they're saying Magician is better, Prospector is better, they're just better characters. And in some ways I agree, some ways I disagree. I've never been a huge fan of Perfumer with broken windows. I actually think Perfumer Tied is very, very good. Because Perfumer actually has a built-in ability that helps her rescue. She has ability that helps her kite, and you know, the perfumes also are very good to help rescue as well. So that is why I actually, you know, think Perfumer is A+, but I think Perfumer with a Tide Turner based Perfumer is good. If you have a team of like 3 Tide Turners, then you can go working with Perfumer. I'm not complaining, but I actually think that if you have like a Seer on your team comp, and you're playing Perfumer with broken windows, that's just stupid. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think that Perfumer should have Tide, and some of you guys may disagree with this. That's fine, but this is just my opinion. I think Perfumer should be there for not just containment, but also for saving. And because if Perfumer, you know, if a hunter baits out a perfume and you vault the window and don't get a speed boost, well, I'll just give you an owl, all right? Or if you vault the window and you don't get a speed boost, the hunter has to vault it, and then you just perfume back into the whatever, right? But yeah, I guess you can't. But here's the thing: you can't vault the window if you know, if the hunter's there, because they're just gonna terror shock you, right? So what's the point? Okay, I guess if, you know, you insta perfume and they hit you and then you vault the window, then you get a speed boost, it's fine, but you just get a Seer Owl. You just ask for Owl. So I don't know. I personally think Perfumer needs to have Tide Turner. I think a Perfumer is a very good rescuer as well as a good kiter, but has very good rescue potential, and that is why I think she needs Tide Turner. But Perfumer with good Tide Turner, is very strong in my opinion. I think is even higher in A+ tier if they have Tide. But for the most part, overall, Perfumer is simply a good kiter, a good rescuer, and is an A+ tier survivor. The next survivor in A+ tier is Magician. Magician recently got buffed. This is super important. Magician used to be terror shocked if you got hit while you were in illusion. That was what we call illusion shock, and that was terrible because it was just like, you know, a very, very high risk for a okay reward. High risk, decent reward. It's not like high risk, high reward. It's high risk, decent reward. And the decent reward was not getting hit, right? But the hunter didn't even have attack recovery. Like, if the hunter hit the illusion, had attack recovery, but still had the risk of being terror shocked, that would be fine. But the problem is, Magician, you had the risk of being terror shocked, and they just hit the illusion and can follow the footsteps, and you don't really get away, right? So that's the biggest issue with Magician then. But now that Magician can't get terror shocked, you have no risk. So there's no risk, good reward, right? And that is why Magician is now an A+ tier survivor, in my opinion, slightly better than Perfumer. Because Magician can, you know, you can insta illusion hits, which means they can't really hit you because they'll hit the illusion. A good Magician will insta illusion hits. You can sometimes break the hunter's ankles, as we like to call it, where that's you lose the hunter, and the hunter loses you rather, and they have to chase somebody else because they can't find you. And yeah, simply now the fact that Magician can't get terror shock, that's very, very strong for him. And it simply just makes Magician an A+ tier survivor. He does have that increased rescue time, which is very difficult, especially with the heavy camping hunters like Bonbon, Violinist, and Sculptor. But once Magician gets saved, he is invisible for a couple of seconds after he's rescued, so that is also very strong. And it gives the Magician some time a couple seconds, again, to transition to a kiting area away from the chair, which gives him a chance to potentially rebound kite. So Magician can rebound kite in that sense. He can a good kiter early game with those illusions, because he can no longer get terror shocked, and is overall a well-rounded A+ tier survivor. The next survivor in A+ tier is Prospector. And the reason why, again, I don't like containment types, but I actually don't mind Prospector. And the reason for that is Prospector can waste time in the late game. So when you're in a position where it's like, oh, Cypher's 70% of the way done, 80% of the way done, and the hunter downs the survivor, and you know healing would take, you know, you can't heal because that would you wouldn't be able to heal in time because the survivor's only like 70 or 80, and there's a prospector running by with 3 magnets because he hasn't been kiting. He can just throw all 3 magnets and make the hunter drop the survivor over and over and over, and you know, just waste a whole bunch of time, and enough time for this survivor to potentially pop the last cipher. So that is why, you know, one of the reasons why Prospector is good. He's also just a good kiter in general. You know, you can throw those magnets against a hunter with a small hitbox. You know, you can use the push, the repel, and force the hunter away so they can't hit you. Or, you know, a hunter with a big hitbox, you can just attract them into a wall. One thing, a fun trick you can do on something like Big Boat on Lakeside Village is when you go up the ramp, you can attract them towards you as you go up around the corner onto Big Boat, and it pulls them towards you and off the ramp. Which is cool, and it makes them go all the way down. I've seen some prospectors do a very good job with that. Yeah, it's pretty good. Prospector is a good kiter and can harass. I don't recommend as a prospector harassing early game, but late game when necessary, Prospector can waste a lot of time. Essentially enough time for, you know, the survivors to you know, to prime the last cipher, or for a survivor to lose the hunter by the prospector, you know, constantly pulling him into walls, and the hunter or the survivor can get great distance between them and the prospector. So overall, Prospector is a solid mid A+ tier survivor, and it's not a bad survivor to have on a team comp. You know, potentially late game, you know, late round in a tournament or in ranked gameplay. The next survivor in A+ tier, this survivor significantly improved over the last season. You know, I think maybe it was even the season before, but, you know, this is Explorer, okay? Explorer used to be, like, C tier. Explorer used to be, like, D, C tier. He was really bad. He used to be so bad where he didn't have the red mark where he saw where the hunter was if he was close by. He literally, all he did was get password pages. He would get revealed by peepers, he would get revealed by abilities. But now, that doesn't happen anymore. It simply doesn't happen. He's been buffed so much, he is now A+ tier. And viable in rank and tournament gameplay. Explorer can literally avoid peepers if he's small. He can hide in little patches of grass, and it's so hard for the hunter to actually see him. He can rotate the hunter and help the team rotate because he can see, you know, when the hunter's fairly close, they can see how far away the hunter is and which direction he's going. He can mind game the hunter, thinking they have more time to get downs when they actually don't, because they have password pages available. You know, you can insta-pop ciphers. You know, if you're trying to rush, you know, a last cipher machine, and the hunter's camping it, well, you can literally just insta-pop it with the, like if someone died on a cipher, Explorer can just go insta-pop that cipher whenever they want, without actually having to decode it, you know, around, spending time decoding it with the hunter camping it while also camping the chair. So that's pretty good. He can go search for a password page, you know, and help a mercenary insta-pop his cipher. Or not insta-pop, but once the cipher gets to 50, he can help the mercenary finish it. So once the survivor goes down, they can go in for a save. Explorer almost never gets found, so you can literally carry Tide Turner, because Explorer has no kiting potential, really. He has no abilities to help him kite. So other than potentially trying to lose the hunter when going small, but that's pretty much it. So let me take a sip of water. Sorry about that. I'm starting to lose my voice again. But Explorer can bring Tide Turner because you usually don't get found early game, so you never really have to kite with Explorer. So it's simple as that. Explorer can go for rescues. He can help rotate. He can help decoding. He's just a very, very strong support character, well-rounded. I know he's typically marked as a decoder, but I think he's more support than anything. He's a very strong support and decoding character. Is a high A+ tier survivor for that reason, and is very viable now in rank and tournament gameplay. Moving on to the next survivor in A+ tier, and the last survivor in A+ tier, this is Gravekeeper. I'm not going to talk too much. Gravekeeper is pretty self-explanatory. He's got 2 shovels. If a hunter chases him, he can literally just throw a pallet down. Shovel. If you're a Gravekeeper and you're decoding, you typically will throw all useless pallets down, or, you know, near you. So if the hunter goes after you, you can just immediately shovel under them and force the hunter to actually break those pallets, which is pretty strong. Yeah, it's simple as that. Gravekeeper can get really close to a chair without actually getting hit, because he can just shovel underground and get all the way up to the chair. He can also, he has, you know, increased save time. So against a hunter with a slow hit, like Bloody Queen, Photographer, Wu Chang, White Form, sometimes you can literally just jump up and save before they can even hit you. It's not if they don't time it right. So, Gravekeeper is just all around a good rescuer. He's got the increased save time again when he comes out of shovel. He can waste a lot of the hunter's time. Typically, a good Gravekeeper will waste a minimum 60 to 80 seconds, sometimes even more, of the hunter's time. So yeah, Gravekeeper's a good kiter, good rescuer, and his decoding isn't too bad for a rescuer. It's only minus 15%, which a lot of the other decoders are 25, 30. So putting all that together, Gravekeeper is very, very strong. Not quite S tier. He's never really banned, but overall, high A+ tier, best survivor in A+ tier. That is Gravekeeper. Moving on to the final tier, that is S tier. These are the last 5 survivors in the 5 best survivors in the game. We're going to go in order from worst to best in terms of S tier. And the first survivor in S tier is Forward. Forward can literally carry games. Forward is a character that is known for carrying matches, and the reason for that is if Survivor goes down, the Forward can literally harass for so long. He can help. You can stun a hunter to let the Survivor keep kiting. He can just waste so much time. He can take maybe 2 seconds to go for a stun, and that's the difference in the game because the Survivor can potentially get away. He can also make the hunter drop the Survivor over and over, and he just wastes so much time. He's a good rescuer. He can if he gets hit trying to stun or if he's one shot, he can literally insta save because you can just stun the hunter as they chair the survivor and then insta save them. It's just good all around for Forward. He's a very, very good kiter. Probably the best kiter out of rescuers in the game. Probably maybe besides Mercenary. He might even be better than Mercenary in some instances. I'm gonna be honest. But he's a very, very good kiter. You never really want to chase a Forward. He is a very good rescuer and a very, very good harassing character. And he gets banned. He doesn't really get banned in rank, but he does get banned a lot in tournament gameplay. And that's why Forward is an S tier survivor. The next survivor in S tier is the Priestess. Priestess is Roach, as we like to call it. Priestess is absolutely broke. She can literally be, getting chased and just portal through a freaking wall and is just gone. It's just that good. I mean, there's a lot of hunters, like maybe Feaster or something like Bloody Queen that'll try to, sandwich you in, or even a Dream Witch will try to sandwich you with the Spawn Follower and the Leech. I'm going to try to trap you, and you can literally just portal the... It's like, okay, well, there's a wall next to me, so I'm just going to portal through, and it's like, okay, good luck, bye-bye, gone. And the Priestess is just gone, just like that. So Priestess is a very good kiter, probably the best kiting, best containment type in terms of kiting. Very, very good kiter. The Whirlpool, very strong against the new hunter as well, very strong against Percy. The Whirl Portal, also known as Global Portal or Ultra Long Portal, you can literally call a portal across the map. If a survivor's about to go down and the hunter doesn't have teleport, they go through it. The survivor's pretty much just gone. And Priestess is really insane because she has that increased healing speed as well as that increased time to be healed. So if she's ever injured, you can heal her quickly. And she can also heal pretty much as fast as a doctor or something. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Maybe not quite as much, but I actually don't know, to be honest. I should know, but I don't. But I know Priestess does heal very fast. That is pretty much why Priestess is S tier. Very good kiter. Can also go for rescues because she can get close to the chair using her portals without getting hit. Very good kiter, rescuer, and support as well. You can set up portals. If the portals do disappear over time because she was nerfed a little while ago, but if a survivor is kiting near you, you can set up portals for them. They can go through them. Very, very strong on Sacred Heart Hospital and Ever-Sleeping Town. And the Ultra Long Portal can literally save matches. Literally carry matches using that Ultra Long Portal. So that is why Priestess is simply just an S tier survivor. The next survivor in S tier, the last 3 here, the next survivor in S tier is Seer. Seer is personally my favorite survivor. I have mained Seer for a few seasons now. I love Seer. Seer is so much fun. Kiting while looking behind you, getting extra owls, taking extra hits. Seer is also excellent for rotating the hunter because you can, you can see where the hunter spawns at the beginning of the match, and you can tell if you're in 4-person VC, you can tell your team where they're going, where the hunter's going, what hunter it is, and you can rotate very well as a Seer. Seer also has that extra, what we call Seer vision, where they can, sometimes if they see the hunter out of the corner of their eye from across the map, the hunter will stay highlighted for a few more seconds, so you can rotate better that way. Seer's not a terrible kiter. He's not bad because you can potentially build up a second owl or even a third if you're that good. But also Seer can, you know, he makes it so every survivor, you know, on top of all that, right? Seer makes it so every survivor on your team takes an extra hit before going down. The first kiter takes an extra hit because they have owl as an option, right? So Seer, for that reason, is S tier. Very good for rotations. Is a decent kiter and a very, very strong support character. And that is why Seer is an S tier survivor and my personal favorite survivor, the survivor that I do main. Moving on to the next survivor in S tier, that is Mechanic. Mechanic is just, I know a lot of you guys will agree with me on this. Mechanic is broken, especially you Hunter mains who complain about Mechanic Cypher Rush being too good. It is so good. And the fact that Mechanic's been nerfed to the ground over the past few seasons, you know, Mechanic used to be, you know, even better, and her doll just lasts less and less. She's still broke. She's still just so good. And as a survivor main, I love having a Mechanic on my team. You know, Mechanic can, she can rescue, she can decode, she can do it all. Kiting-wise, not really. She can't really kite that well. She is technically the worst kiter in the game because she's even worse than Mindsight, because Mindsight can actually see through walls, Mechanic can't. But, you know, if you are a good kiter, you usually typically will be the Mechanic on the team because you can waste a lot of the Hunter's time. Mechanic can literally decode while being on share, though, as long as you have your bot out. And the reason why Mechanic is now higher than Seer is Mechanic is being banned more in tournament gameplay and ranked gameplay more than Seer. Mechanic right now is actually the most banned survivor in NAEU top tiers right now. I've been getting more Mechanic, you know, being banned than any other survivor, even more than Seer, even more than Mercenary. So Mechanic is a commonly banned survivor. Can literally go for a rescue while decoding, can kite while decoding, and can be on share while decoding. And you know, can Cypher Rush early game before Survivor gets hit. If you have a Seer, you can owl the first hit, and the Mechanic gets increased decoding time. You know, it gives the increased decoding speed before someone's injured. She can literally put her bot on the gate, so you know, have someone opening the exit gate for free. And also you can leave your bot halfway, so, you know, when I say halfway, in the middle of the map. So if a survivor goes down at the end game, this hunter can't teleport because the bots can just save, right? The bot gives the hunter tinnitus, so the hunter can't leave the camping chair in the end game. They can't teleport to an exit gate. So that is simply why Mechanic is S tier. Very, very strong in those aspects, and the second best survivor in the game. Alright guys, I know I've been ranting a bit here, but we are on the last final survivor in the game. I think you all know who it is. It is Mercenary. Mercenary is the most commonly played survivor in the entire game because of how good he is. It's that simple. Mercenary has 4 elbow pads, which are incredibly powerful. The hunter is coming near you. Oh, I'm just gonna elbow pad and just like zoom out of there. Bye-bye. Hunter's coming near me again. Oh, I'm just gonna elbow pad again. Get out of here. Bye-bye. Mercenary also has increased chair persistence, so you can never really chase a Merc. One, because the elbow pads waste so much time. Merc also has, I think it's 10% increased vaulting speed, which is very strong. He also has incredibly long increased chair persistence, which means he almost never dies. So if you chase a Merc first, even if you pretty much insta-down a Merc, you will probably still end up tying the match, unless you're like a Dream Witch, because Merc just takes so long in the rocket chair to actually die. Also, Merc can rebound if he still has elbow pads. He can rebound kite very, very easily. And it's just that simple. Mercenary is, you can't chase a Merc. If Mercenary gets, you know, hit twice while rescuing, he can still make the save. If he gets terror shocked, he can still make the save because he, you know, takes that extra 15 seconds to take the first hit and an extra 15 again, so it takes 30 seconds for him to actually die. Again, as a Mercenary, you don't really want to get double hit, but that's okay. You can take up to 2 hits, 3 hits essentially, you know, if you're going in for a rescue. So Mercenary overall is the best rescuer because even if he gets hit twice before he gets the save off, where he would normally be stuffed, he is actually not stuffed because he's a Merc. If he gets terror shocked, he can still make the save. If he gets hit with detention, he can still make it out the exit gate. He can body block people at the exit gate if you can get hit with detention, and that is why Mercenary is just so good. In positions where you normally would be stuffed, Mercenary can still make the rescue. Mercenary can save Wall one shot because he's already, you know, taken a hit. You can take a hit. You can literally save a second time without having to be healed. That is absolutely broken. And you can never chase a Mercenary again because of elbow pads and increased share persistence. And that is simply why Mercenary is S tier and the best survivor in the game. That is finally going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I know it's a long one. Thank you for sticking with me through the Survivor tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was very helpful for you all. That is really my goal here, is to be beneficial and try to help you guys out as much as possible in terms of giving you my opinion, as well as my friends who are the top players. Their opinions are added into this list as well. We talked about this together before I made this video. But if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really does help out the channel, and I really do appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.